If you're in your 20s right now, managing your money can feel like you've been handed a rulebook from a completely different game. And honestly, in a lot of ways, you have. So today, we are tearing up that old playbook, and we're going to build a new one from scratch, one that's designed specifically for the world you're facing in 2026. Let's get right into it.
All right, here's our game plan. We've broken it down into 6 key sections. We're going to start with why the rules have changed, then get into the crucial mind game of money. From there, it's all action, building your financial base, tackling modern debt, getting you started with investing, and finally, tying it all together into a solid resilience plan. So let's kick things off with Section 1, the new playbook. We're going to break down exactly why the financial advice your parents or even grandparents followed just might not cut it for you anymore. The entire landscape has fundamentally shifted.
This is the big question, isn't it? If you've ever felt like you're running twice as hard just to stay in the same place financially, well, you're not alone. And you are definitely not imagining it. The data actually proves this feeling's real.
And this right here lays it out in black and white. Just look at the numbers. Compared to someone in their 20s back in 1993, you're more likely to have a college degree, sure, but look at what it costs. The median student loan balance has almost tripled, and mortgage debt is way higher. The starting line of the race has literally been moved back.
Which brings us perfectly to Section 2. Because before you even think about opening a budgeting app or a spreadsheet, the most important work you can do happens right between your ears. Winning the financial mind game is absolutely the first, most crucial step.
There's this term that's really important for our digital age, money dysmorphia. It's this nagging, persistent feeling that you're totally behind financially, no matter how well you're actually doing. And what's the number one thing fueling this? That perfectly curated highlight reel you scroll through every single day on social media.
And here's the engine driving that feeling. Social media algorithms aren't built to show you reality. They're built to make you want things. It creates this powerful comparison trap that completely warps your sense of what's normal and just fuels anxiety and this constant pressure to spend, spend, spend.
So, what's the antidote to all this? Well, 2 main philosophies have kind of emerged. You've got the really rigid debt-first plans, like the baby steps, but there's a newer approach called financial wholeness that takes a much more balanced view. It's all about finding a way to actually enjoy your life and spend on things you value now, while you're also responsibly saving for the future. It's not about guilt.
Okay, so with our mindset in the right place, it is time for Section 3, building your financial base. This is where we lay the foundation, create that safety net that's going to make everything else we talk about possible.
A fantastic place for a lot of people to start is the 50-30-20 rule. It's super simple. 50% of your take-home pay goes to your needs, things like rent and groceries. 30% goes to your wants, like going out with friends or hobbies. And then a crucial 20% goes straight to your financial goals, like saving or paying down extra debt.
But let's be real for a second. If you live in a high-cost city, your rent alone can completely blow up that 50% needs category. And that's where something called a zero-based budget can be a total game changer. The idea is simple but so powerful. Before the month even begins, you give every single dollar you earn a specific job to do. So your income minus all your planned expenses equals 0. You are in complete control.
Next up, your safety net. We're going to break this down into 2 totally manageable steps. Step 1 is just getting a starter fund of $1,000. Think of this as your flat tire fund or your unexpected vet bill fund. It's what keeps you from having to whip out a credit card. Once you've got that, you build towards Step 2, a full emergency fund with 3 to 6 months of your essential living expenses. And you're going to want to park this money in a high-yield savings account, so your safety net is actually earning you some money instead of just sitting there doing nothing.
All right, on to Section 4, navigating modern debt. We're going to focus on the 2 big ones here, student loans and credit. The rules for both have changed in a big way for 2026, and you really need to understand these changes.
For federal student loans, the new game changer is the Repayment Assistance Plan, or RAP. As you can see, your payment is tied to your income, not how much you owe. But the most important part, the absolute key, is the interest benefit. On the old plans, if your payment was less than the interest that month, your loan balance would actually go up. It was called negative amortization. With RAP, any interest your payment doesn't cover gets waived by the government. This is huge. It means your balance won't balloon out of control while you're making your payments.
Okay, let's talk credit. We all kind of know a good score is important, right? But have you ever actually stopped to think about what it's worth in cold, hard cash? The answer?
Well, it might just shock you. Just take a look at this. For the exact same $300,000 mortgage, the person with a 760 FICO score pays over $130 less every single month than the person with a 620 score. I mean, think about what that is. That's your cell phone bill. That's a really nice dinner out. That's a solid chunk of change for your investment account, just gone, every month.
And here is the real gut punch. Over the 30-year life of that loan, that lower score costs you almost $50,000. $48,000 in extra interest. That's a down payment on another property. That is a massive boost to your retirement. It is a life-changing amount of money, all because of those three little numbers.
So how you get scored is changing too. The new FICO 10T model uses something called trended data. It doesn't just look at how much debt you have today, it looks at your payment patterns over the last 2 years. Are you consistently paying down your balances, or are they slowly creeping up? That trend now matters. And for the first time ever, buy now, pay later services are being factored in. So making those payments on time can actually help build your score now, but missing one can definitely hurt it.
Okay, you've built your base. You're managing your debt. Now, in Section 5, we get to the really exciting part. It's time to shift from playing financial defense to playing offense and start actively building your wealth for the future.
If you only take away one single thing about investing, please let it be this slide. A single $10,000 investment made when you're 25, if you just leave it alone and never touch it again, could grow to over $43,000 by the time you're 55. That isn't magic, that is the incredible power of compound interest, and it proves without a doubt that time is your single greatest financial asset.
These right here are your primary wealth-building tools for 2026. You've got your workplace 401k, and you've got your individual retirement account, or IRA. For most people in their 20s, the Roth version of these accounts is the way to go. Why? Because you pay taxes on the money now, while you're likely in a lower tax bracket, and then all of that beautiful growth is completely tax-free in retirement. Oh, and don't sleep on the health savings account, the HSA, if you have access to one. It is a triple tax-advantaged powerhouse.
And look, you do not need to be a Wall Street genius to get started. Your modern investing toolkit is actually pretty simple. You've got index funds and ETFs, which are amazing because they let you own a tiny piece of the entire stock market. You get instant diversification at a super low cost. Or you can use a robo-advisor, which is a service that just automatically builds and manages a portfolio for you based on your goals. It has literally never been easier to get started.
And that brings us to our final section, your financial resilience plan. This is where we tie everything we've been talking about into one cohesive strategy, not just for surviving, but for truly thriving.
Your plan really rests on 4 key pillars. First, automate everything. Set up automatic transfers for your savings and investments so your wealth just builds in the background. Second, defend your credit score like it's a fortress, especially now that you understand the new FICO 10T rules. Third, practice behavioral mindfulness. Unplug from that social media comparison trap. And fourth, stay fluent. Laws around taxes and student loans change, so make sure you stay on top of the ones that affect you directly.
So here's the bottom line. The old financial rules might be broken, but the new ones, they're clear, they're understandable, and they are totally actionable. We've just walked through the entire new playbook. The only question left is, are you ready to get in the driver's seat?